What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben. So Apple recently released a new version of iOS 18. You can see this is the current one that I'm on right now, and because it's an iOS 18 update, that means that some of the new features and changes that are included partially affect Apple CarPlay. And so in this video, I'm going to be showing you some of those new features and changes that have been introduced with iOS 18 Apple CarPlay. So the first one that's here is one that you are going to notice right out the bat when you start using CarPlay on your device, and it's this app selector or toggle right here. You can see when I toggle between the different modes, this app view section or the screen view, it now gives you just two options. The third option that had like a cube and 3 lines has been removed. So that's the first thing that you're definitely going to notice after you update to iOS 18 and connect your iPhone to CarPlay. Now, one other such changes that has been implemented here, which isn't actually for the best in my opinion, on the iPhone, if you go into settings and you go to where it says Siri, under Siri responses right here, they have removed the section which allowed you to select Siri to respond through the radio or respond through like the speakers, and so that has now been removed in this latest update. And that's something that's kind of unfortunate, because if I'm using Siri and I'm driving and I have Apple CarPlay connected, I want to be able to interact with Siri using my car's mic and the sound system or the speakers of that car. So kind of unfortunate. I'll send it in the feedback application as a bug, and hopefully they'll bring it back as a feature. One thing that this iOS 18 update fixes when it comes to CarPlay has to do with the settings. So if you're trying to connect to CarPlay using a BMW series car and you are finding an issue with the connectivity through Bluetooth and CarPlay is not connecting at all, there was an issue with that, and at this point in time Apple has mentioned that for specific BMW series that issue has now been fixed. So that's something that's good, and at the same time also something that has been redesigned here is actually new. And if we go into the settings right here, you can see Siri and suggestions. The new Siri icon that we have here is actually that which depicts Apple Intelligence, the one that is going to be coming with new features and changes that will allow you to be able to interact with Siri, and Siri will be able to see, for example, the different icons or the different animations and activities as well as functionalities that each application can do, and from that you can interact with Siri, and Siri will be able to do even more app-based tasks. So that's one of the first thing that you also notice here when it comes to Siri and suggestion. But something that is a bit contradicting when it comes to this is that if you look at this article that was posted by Bloomberg, it actually goes to highlight that Apple Intelligence will launch in the fall. However, the newly designed entire version of Siri will not be available at this time, and it's expected to be delayed until next year. But regardless of what like Bloomberg or Mark Gurman here has said, it's good to see that, you know, we're beginning to see the first or the initial implementation of this new Siri version that's going to have Apple Intelligence in CarPlay. Now, another thing too that has been slightly updated, the animation for triggering Siri. You can see how the UI looks, and this time around you have the ability to choose how intrusive it is, whether you wanted to have it as among the other application or what your screen is displaying, or if you want, you can choose to isolate it. What's the weather like? So you can see here how it's responding, and I'm able to see the current weather right now, but at the same time it's not washing out like the background of the different applications. So this is something that you can do, and if you wanted to take more of the background, you can go into the settings right here and switch off this section that says show Siri behind apps, and if you switch it off like right there and then go to the app and say what's the weather like, you can see now the apps are hidden. And in my opinion, I feel like if you're driving and you don't want to be distracted by so much information on the screen, this is the one that's probably best. Inside settings, we now have a new sub-menu section that's called accessibility that we never used to have. So under accessibility right here, we have color filters, and in the color filters, you notice this can be used to differentiate colors by users who are colorblind and aid users who have difficulty in reading. So when you turn this on right here, you can see it does sort of affect the system a little bit. So now this is the grayscale that you can see. If I select the green and red filter right here, you can see how that looks. And if I go to green red filter, pretty much the same, at least to me. Maybe I'm coming colorblind. If I go to the blue and yellow filter, that's how it looks. And at the same time, you can choose the intensity. So that's the color filter that's here in iOS 18. If I was to switch this off and go to some of the other accessibility, you notice we have bold text. I feel like the bold text actually makes it pop and look better, and this is something that can aid you to be able to glance your screen quickly without having to be distracted. And at the same time, you have physical and motor, and under this section, voice control will allow you to use your iPhone's microphone to control CarPlay with voice commands. So if I turn this on, you can see automatically there's a microphone icon there that tells you that something is using your mic. And at the same time on the iPhone right there, you can see just by the time, you have that blue icon there that's telling you that something is using the microphone. So I can say, for example, open music, and it opens music. Tap play, and it taps play. Tap back, and it taps back. Go to the previous page. Tap pause. Open settings. Boom, we are back to where we started. So that's a brief demonstration of how this voice control works. And if you don't want to be interacting or touching your screen as you drive, this is a pretty good alternative using this accessibility voice control. If you go into the settings, there is a new silent mode, and this wording has been changed from the previous update that we were on. You can see this one says iPhone will play alerts system sounds when connected to CarPlay, because this feature is off. If I turn it on, iPhone will not play alerts and system sounds when connected to CarPlay, and iPhone will basically be using the speakers or the audio system that is in the car. So that has been updated too from the previous update. And at the same time, you can see here, if you go to the home page right here, you can see, I don't want to really dive deep into the maps, but this has been slightly updated, and some of the icons, the bridges, they seem to pop more, as well as the mountains. But one of the things that I don't like about maps with iOS 18, which I was hoping Apple would fix, is that we still don't have the ability to actually quench or zoom in like this or zoom out. So that's not something that's good. So for me, I'm hopefully Apple adds this as part of another update so that people can use the option to zoom in and zoom out as they wish. And at the same time, this is obviously going to depend on the type of CarPlay system you have. If you support multi-touch, depending on how many fingers you can have on the screen at the same time, then of course, if Apple does implement this heavily requested feature, that will be something that's great. Now in messages, as you can see, you now get pictures, and you get to see if the person has a profile picture or a contact card, or if there's no name, you get to see like a profile made up of the initials of their first and last name. And at the same time, when you do get like a notification from someone, whether it's a text notification or if it's coming in as a WhatsApp notification, the profile of the person will be depicted besides that application. So if it's like a messages notification, I'll see the person's face, and then it will tell me from messages and the contents of the message. And at the same time, this works with other applications as well, such as WhatsApp or Teams and even Telegram. So that's something that's good that has been updated with this iOS 18. And other few things that I might want to highlight. For example, I'll show you some of the new banners that Siri has updated with. So for example, what was the score of the Warriors versus Kings NBA game? And boom, you can see how the banner looks. And because I selected the option that says don't be too intrusive, you can see how it blurs out everything and it makes the numbers and the logos really big and easy to stare at, and after a few seconds it sort of disappears. So that's something that's good and it has been updated here. Those are some of the new features and changes that have been added when it comes to this new iOS 18 Apple CarPlay. We are currently on beta 3 right now, and some of the new features and changes are going to be made better. Right now you can see it's sort of buggy for some of the features, but it's not going to be like that officially when this update comes out. So do hit like and subscribe so that if there's more new features or even more bugs or whatever has been resolved, then I'll definitely cover that here on the channel and you'll stay up to date. So stay safe and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.